We go. Uh-huh. Yeah. Welcome back. Okay. Hey, yo, the beat you hear right now, is AZ. More money, more murder. All right, AZ. If you don't know, look him up. Hip hop, straight music, real stuff. You know what I mean? Again, welcome back. All right. Got a little something different for you today. A little bit of a reflection. Okay. Still has things to do with such. Okay. With everything that's going on in the world. All right. And go. Hey. Yeah. Welcome back. It's R. All right, representing the I.S.C.S.D.R Independent Sovereign City State Democratic Republic, and I'm here to give you what's real, the inside. All right, my sovereign city state. Okay, because it directly affects what's real on the outside, because it directly affects what's on the inside of my independent sovereign city state Democratic Republic, and my fellow sovereign knights, as such. Okay, this is actually a request. Okay, usually I report on news that's social, political, or scientific. This is a little bit of a reflection of history and a precognition, I want to call it, of the future. Okay, development as such. Okay, for the human and of our ecology as a whole. All right. So I'm gonna take you a little bit through history, a little bit of deep dive in history here. What we're looking at is the reported historical, how am I going to put it, the start of ideas and ideals in general that deal with the human as the center of said idea and ideal. Okay. What that means is based on my studies. Personally, I'm in school right at the moment. I'm in a higher institution that is supplying me with the tools to self-learn, as well as learn on their pathway. Okay, that's just me. All right, so a little bit of tidbit there is any knowledge that you receive, any book that you get, any reading that you have has been written and developed in a certain way. But again, reading in between the lines is very important, and that's what self-learning is. Okay, your ability to say that the sky is blue, someone says that the sky is blue, and you can go back and observe and see why it essentially is blue, instead of someone just telling you that the sky is blue. Okay, that's what self-learning is. Okay. Now, what we're doing is going back through history here, and the center of ideas is where a mass majority or the center of history has been developed, and that is in the Middle East area, the Middle Eastern region. Okay. So what I'm looking at specifically is Mesopotamia. All right, where the two most fertile rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates, intersect. Okay. And make a region of civilization. Okay. If you don't know about humans, when ancient history first was found or recorded, people were hunter-gatherers, literally groups of, and what a hunter-gatherer is yes, it could be you by yourself as a nomad, or essentially just like smaller wolf packs or smaller animals. We take that for example, smaller predatory animals typically hunt in what, packs, correct? So a hunter-gatherer civilization is not really a civilization. A hunter-gatherer group typically consists of about 6 to 10, maybe, and less. Okay, it's very small, not even enough for a village. You see what I'm saying? So you take a village and just decrease that number, you have hunter-gatherers. They don't have enough to share with each other, okay, but enough to where they have to pull their own weight, all right, in each category. Now, with hunter gatherers, Okay. There is no sense of an emotional turmoil, a physical turmoil in a sense, a social turmoil, political turmoil, nothing like that. Because why? There's so many few numbers against nature or with nature, working with nature in order to make sure that they can live to the next day, in order to make sure that honestly they can eat, all right, and drink water and reproduce. Okay, does that make sense? Those are the three main things that humans were concerned with at the time. Okay, eating, drinking, reproducing. All right, everything else was just not a priority. It's a secondary. Okay, so when you have these groups, okay, you have people that have to pull their own weight. Me, if I have to go out and get 10 plants, all right, and I'm a hunter gatherer and I gather 10 plants, I'm assured myself that I'm going to survive today, maybe even the next day. All right. Likewise, for the other 5 people, if someone comes back with 9, I cannot share my 10 with you. I cannot share my 1 with you. Okay. If I choose to, we'd probably both be asked out for a long time. Or if I don't, you just have to deal with it and you're going to die. You know what I'm saying? Or you just won't have the resources. You got to do the extra work to put in the resources. Okay. That's just what it was. All right. It's very selfish in a sense. If you think about it, it's very selfish, but it's the laws of nature. Okay. Now, if we look at hunter-gatherer societies in ancient times, we can see that most of those people outlasted outlasted for a long time before civilizations came. What a civilization means is a city, all right, a higher city, a village. Okay, so these guys would continue hunter gathering because they had essentially the resources. All right, the only reason, and I go back to Mesopotamia, the only reason why big cities, civilizations in large groups started was because of, in that area, essentially, in that area, was because of the surrounding resources, the lack thereof. Okay, if I am in a desert, all right, and we only have 2 fertile rivers here, the start of a civilization is going to have to begin close to these rivers, and people are going to have to start coming together, all right, because they don't have the resources to continue to hunt and gather on their own, if that makes sense to you. Okay, instead, things come to this river. Cows will come and drink out of this. The most greatest grass will grow along this riverbed. So we don't have to go anywhere. We can chill right here. And we can go ahead and start breeding and getting a social life and getting a political form and things like that together so we can organize it ourselves. Okay? If that makes sense to you. All right. Now that is where the flow of ideas started, Mesopotamia and Egypt. I put Egypt in there as well because Egypt is North Africa in the middle of a desert and there's only one river flowing through there, and that is the Nile. It's the same concept there. Okay. Now, in order to make sure that you can properly control this region, I don't mean control in a negative way. I mean make sure that that rivers keep flowing, that food is available. All right, you have to start some sort of a system, some sort of a law, and that law came in the form of religion. All right, so you have Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Okay, so people are polytheistic, but polytheistic also stems from well, I'll get to that. But you have Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Okay, these 3 things popped up in that area. All right, and they were all born from the idea that one person, a prophet, so to speak, was someone that you had to idolize or someone that you had to aspire to be like, all right, in order to keep people in line. Now, the polytheism, the multiple gods and things like that came from animism, all right? What animism is your ability to not necessarily worship, but know that every living thing has a soul or has a spirit or is alive. Okay. All right. The only way you can tell it's alive is just you going out in nature, you pick it, it grows back. Wow, it's alive. You see what I'm saying? But and essentially at the primitive mind, okay, would just believe that everything that you're walking on, everything that you're touching, everything that you are in interacting with is a living thing in itself. Okay. Now, the ability for these things to do their own things made polytheism come about, where people were thinking, hey, look, the tree is a god, the river is a god, or there is something controlling this tree to make it grow back after I chop it down, or something controlling this water, this river, Tigris, Euphrates, Egypt, that makes it flood and makes it dissipate. You see what I'm saying? All right, that's where the polytheism comes from. All right, we didn't understand nature at the time, so we put a god or some sort of a being that controls this. Now, the fact that some of these things were animals, some of these things were human. Okay, but the more that we look as time progresses, we observe that these animals or some of these things are being replaced with humans. Okay, so more of the human ego is being boosted over time. All right, and that happens again. That happens with the thinking that we can control what's happening in nature. I chop it down, it grows back. There must be some guy that looks like me, all right, that is responsible for it growing back. Okay. Now, the point I'm getting to is the start of civilizations, and you can look this up in the past videos, or you can look this up on your own. Colonization of Europe. This area of Mesopotamia is a trifecta for a traffic of trade, goods, and ideas. All right, Mesopotamia is in between Iran, all right, Africa, Russia, Asia is up here, and Europe is this way. So it's literally here. Everything else goes like that. All right, so if my people feel like we want to move upwards where the Tigris is, we want to move up towards Europe, we'll do that. If we want to move east towards China, we'll do that. If we want to move south towards the Arabias and North Africa, we'll do that. And if we want to move north, northwest or whatever, it's the same thing. All right, we go to Russia and things like that. All right. Now, after the whole conquest, and I'm trying to get to present times, all right, because this is a request. Now, present times, colonialism, the spread of Christianity, Judaism, and all these other religions that are ego religions based off of a profit, okay, based off of a profit of spreading across the world. All right, but what we are also observing is the same structure that is put in place in Mesopotamia is also spreading across the world. The building of cities, the collectivization of people in one area to share goods and trade, and to be able to have everything come to them in a sense. All right, with some people being workers, some people not being workers. Okay, but that's just how the structure goes. All right, the main goal there is for a people to be able to sit in one area and to have access to global natural resources. All right. And in that same saying, that is not, it's not rational. All right. We'll take North America, for example. North America is a very great land that has deserts, has forests, is not over-occupied by deserts, obviously. Has grasslands, it has mountains. It's very resource rich. Okay. Native Americans did not necessarily need to live in big cities. You see what I'm saying? Very spread out, small hunter-gatherer pockets here and there. Okay, same thing if you look at South America and those civilizations there. Now, and I say that, all right, to prove a point. We are heading towards modern times. We are heading towards a time where everyone is becoming city dwellers, civilization dwellers. Urbanization is huge. Okay. And that is only because of our technological industrial advances for us to get a fish. I'm living in Georgia in the US. I can get a fish all the way from Indochina, all right, shipped all the way over here. I don't even have to fish in my backyard. Why would I? I don't need to. I don't have to go out and learn what fish do and sit down and wait for a fish and bring it back. You see what I'm saying? I don't even have to run the risk of, if I go out and fish, I won't catch anything, and then I'll be hungry for the day. All right, I can just put up something. It ships in a fish X amount of days, ships in plentiful fish X amount of days, no matter what the cost. Okay, it's a very lazy system to me. All right, and it's destroying our world. How it's destroying our world is these big pockets of civilizations. I don't say small. These big pockets are making a bigger impact on the environment as opposed to a small hunter-gatherer, even a tiny village making an impact. And then once whatever happens in that area is done, they move on to somewhere else, and that area is able to regrow. Okay, there is able to redo. This world is homeostasis. All right, so the world is meant to keep moving. It has plate tectonics, it has volcanoes, it has ashes, things like that. It has plate tectonics that keep things going. The waterways, the air, whatever. All right, it's meant to grow and rebuild itself. All right, but again, smaller. You could take humans for example. If you have one thing of lice in your hair, it's gonna mess up a little pocket here. Once you get rid of it, your hair is gonna grow back. All right. But if you have a whole head of lice, what do they have to do? They have to shave the entire head in order for the entire head to grow back. It's a lot. All right, and that's what I'm saying here. The reason why the civilizations are fueled is because of the human ego, and the reason why the human ego is so prevalent right now is because of the religious laws that we are basing off. And the reason why religious laws are being put into place is because of because of the natural resources that were lacking in Mesopotamia, the area where a flow of trade and peoples interacted. It's a very, very diverse area. Okay, interacted with each other, and yet one group of people navigated and took that idea and ran with it for the whole world. Europe. Okay. Now, is it all Europe's fault? It's definitely a I want to say all of them. All right. That's an extreme word, all, but it's most. All right. It's the ideal that comes from Europe. The ideal that we want to have the same thing that happened in Mesopotamia, the same thing that happens in Egypt. All right. Where people are coming to them and seeing how, oh man, look at this, look at the pyramids, look at the structures, look at these, look at the riches, the golds that you're covered in. That makes the gifts that you're giving. Does that make sense? It's a very enticing thing. All right. Also, the religions that develop there are very enticing. If I tell you that you have no control over this plant in front of you, it's less enticing than if I tell you that you have control over this plant in front of you. You would likely be more confident in going out into the rest of the world. All right. Now, there's something to be said with the evolution of man. All right, of humans. All right, the adaptations that we've been given, or we've been developing. All right, there's something to be said about that. There are certain people that did not go that route. That did not go the route of having huge resources brought to them. There are some people that choose to work, and we know those people because those people are out working right now. All right, that's inherent. It's not the individual, of course. It's an inherent genetic thing. Okay, people that go out, grind every day, and also reap the benefits of their grind. All right, because that is what inherently was done. When you go out and hunt, and you kill a deer, or antelope, or whatever you go out and kill a badger, whatever area, region you're from, which is lush which is plentiful. You go out and kill something, you eat it that same day. Okay, because you know the next day you can go out and you can try and get it. All right. If you're not feeling well, you would stack up and wait. All right. Or if you know a season is coming, you would stack up and wait for the season to pass. If you didn't stack up enough, hey, it's too bad. All right. But you can see this today. Today, we can see that certain people will go out, spend X amount of energy exploiting themselves to gain currency, to get money, and then spend it that same day. Reap what they sow. All right, that is an inherent thing. I don't want you to believe that that it's just something that you just put up today. All right, it's inherent. All right, genetically in your past, you are probably more related to those who operate like that, to those who had to hunt and gather. All right, to those who had to work for what they did and then reap those benefits. It's obvious, you can see it. All right. For those that choose to the latter, for those that invest, i.e. put acorns here, put money here and hope that it comes back in the form of passive income. And those that can play economics well and do the marketing and do all these other intangible things very well in order to gain more resources without them trying. All right. Those are a type of people as well. All right. What we're looking at is which idea is more predominant today. But honestly, which idea is being forced? All right. Is it smarter? Is it smarter to be able to say, hey, I can plug here, I can plug here, I can plug in, I can sit on my ass and then things will come? All right. Is it smarter to go out and be able to work every day and reap what you sow that same day? Which is more beneficial? All right. And I want to use, again, I'm a very logical person, so I use the realities of things that happen. All right. People that tend to, yes, we are comfortable today. All right. We are comfortable. We can able to sit here in AC and have computers and have technology and things, but at what cost? You see what I'm saying? Our bodies are more susceptible to unknowns, diseases and viruses and radioactivity and random deaths that we don't even know where they came from. The average person doesn't know where they came from. All right. Unless you are again that hunter-gatherer inherit genetic where you are going out and you are actively learning about these things and know what may happen. But again, the technologies and things, you didn't build this. I didn't build it. All right. The next man didn't build it, or they didn't structure it, or they didn't make the whole spider web of things behind it. Okay. So unless you specifically build everything that leads up to you getting sick, you won't know how. All right. If that makes sense to you. So there is a balance. One, where you can plug correctly and you can get things. Two, with that said balance, is you also working hard on your own in order to make sure that if these things fall apart, you still have a daily nutritional value of food, water, also the daily man-made nutritions of economics and stock and things like that. Okay. As far as the future goes and our natural world goes, because that's the main concern with me, that what I last said was a social thing. As far as the natural world goes, the fact that your city or your empire is plugging in other empire as a whole mass of land is plugging in other masses of lands while sitting on their mass, you are destroying you are reaping from surrounding areas and sowing from surrounding areas until your own mass needs to reap and sow in the homeland. What that does is it's very it's very self-destructive. Okay? Very self-destructive. All right. If you turn a lush forest into a desert here, you turn the ocean into a dead zone here. You turn these mountains into plains here. see what I'm saying? And you turn the underground into a wasteland over here in another area, and you are sitting on a lush plot that you have yet to touch, and you've destroyed all the outside. Have you learned? Do the amount of people that you have in your empire, will they be fed off of the land that they now have to sow themselves? You see what I'm saying? It would not. Maybe talking in circles here. What I'm getting at is, in the future, all of our resources would not be available. All of our resources will be expunged because of our mass harvesting. Okay, because of mass harvesting. All right. And the only way you can solve that is two ways. The only way you can solve that, one, is going back in time and saying, hey, let's split up everybody. All right. Look, people just got to split up. We can't have these big groups of things anymore. We have to have tiny little pockets again. All right. You have to get out these cities 5 at a time, or whatever it is, 10 at a time, and split up. Find your own pocket and work with what you got there. All right. Now that's not realistic because the damage has already been done. But the second option, a little bit more realistic, is we use the advances that we have, the technology, things like that, to create, to synthetically replenish the biome that we're on, the earth that we're on. All right, you know how to genetically modify seeds so that they can grow in the desert. We know how to add certain nutrients to the oceans and certain oxygens to the ocean because they have become deoxygenated. We can add oxygen back to the ocean to make sure that plant life and fish and biodiversity flourishes there. Okay. But that takes work. All right. And that takes people that want to do that work. If not, we'll be living in a dome. We'll be living in a huge, I don't know what it's going to be made out of, probably a solar panel like dome. All right. That energizes itself, and the dome takes care of us, and we sit in this dome and everything is fed to us in the form of whatever it is. Okay. Sounds pretty caveman-like to me. Sounds like we're using technology and our advances to rewind time and bring us back to where we were sitting next to the Nile and all the animals and plants came to us. We just didn't have the tools to ensure that I could kill this crocodile every single time. All right, or that I could find a lion, or the lion that's coming to drink will not be able to run away from me. Okay, that's essentially the third, and I think the most realistic option that'll probably happen, because the other two take a little bit of work. All right, and as we know about the certain civilization that has colonized the world, I don't want to do work. Plain and simple. Probably because of fear of death. All right. If I work, or if I have to get up every day and do something every day, if I have to get up right now every day and make sure I come home with a deer or with some plants to eat, and I come home with nothing, my people are starving and they might die the next day. I might not even have energy for the next day to do anything. Makes sense? And that's a very scary thought if you're not up for the challenge. All right. Again, I'll digress a little bit. Look, I'm gonna end this with something that I always like to do. A little bit of relaxation. Okay. Inhale, exhale. Very funky beat. And relax. All right. Beat's called dough or die. You get the dough or you die. Plain and simple. Peace, love, and use your head for more than a hat rack.